I'm not a farmer though, I'm a city girl, but my parents were farmers and my grandparents were farmers and my great-grandparents were all farmers. And we operate our restaurants like we were farmers. And we started in 1928 at the Bavarian Inn at the Zehnder's. And my grandpa and grandma, they traded in a 40-acre farm. There were many years they thought that was a dumb decision. And they started this restaurant called Zehnders. And grandma and the 8 kids, my dad was 8 years old at the time, they made what grandma made when she was on the farm and she had to feed all the hired hands when it was thrashing time. Chicken, because she knew how to do that. And her grandpa, my great-grandfather, her father, was Jacob Bickle. And this is now in the 1800s. And at one time he had 7 thrashing machines that he went and did thrashing for much of what you're talking. And I wonder if these early farmers would now know about the yields you're talking. They'd probably all roll over in their graves, wouldn't they? So agricultural is very important. In 1950, we bought the restaurant across the street from the Fisher family. They had it since 1888. And my mom and dad became the managers. My father started remodeling that restaurant, Bavarian, and thus went to community. Mom went in the kitchen, but my dad never stopped farming. The problem was the restaurant business is different sometimes than the farming business. He could no longer milk and still run a restaurant. So then he went into heavy cattle, and of course most of his cash crops all then went into feeding his cattle. And he had over 1,000 acres in the 50s and 60s, which at that time was a lot, but he had farm hands. But he was always a farmer. So my dad passed away about 6 years ago, and now what I miss is I don't know anymore what the price of beans are, and I don't know anymore what the price of wheat is, because he always talked about that. He talked more about that than the restaurant business. And he used to say he had to keep his restaurant job to support his farming habit. My mother said he never made any money farming, and she didn't know because she was a farmer, but she liked the restaurant business better. When we opened up the lodge in '85, due to IRS rules, we had to split Zehnders and Bavarian Inn. So Zehnders is now owned and operated by my cousins. And in the Bavarian Inn, in my generation, which is the 3rd generation, there are 4 of us, my brother and our spouses. We're very blessed to have 5 of our children who are now all in senior management. But the jewel of my family is my mom, who at 93 still works 6 days a week running that kitchen, and she oversees the quality of the food. And it's interesting, I'm going to tell you because you're farm related. You know, we have 17 different food products that we buy pure Michigan. We could buy sugarcane sugar cheaper than Michigan sugar. No way. We buy Michigan sugar. And we've identified these products. Cabbage. Now that they're holding cabbage different in the storehouses, we're still using the cabbage from this summer from Michigan. The potatoes, we use all fresh potatoes. Cranberries come up from Sheboygan. A lot of people didn't realize or don't realize that, yes, Michigan can grow cranberries. But we have squash that is grown on a local farm here. It's the big blue Hubbard squash. 72 ton, Mom and her crew, they processed last fall. You were supposed to get the squash for your dinner because Michigan product, I wanted to serve it to you. 2 days ago, they said to me, we have no more squash. I said, what do you mean we have no more squash? Well, we had a problem with one of our freezers. And it went below 0. And we didn't catch it in time. And now we're throwing away about $20,000 worth of processed squash, okay, that we process. So we sometimes don't have the yield like we would like to after we do the processing. I only tell you this because I want you to know that agriculture is probably neck to neck with tourism in Frankenmuth. And I would guess, in fact, I got some Star of the West guys here, we ought to really sit down, because with the yields that you people have all been having these last number of years, I got a feeling that maybe you've even surpassed us. Yes, we have the big restaurants, we have runners, but we got a lot of small shops. And so I congratulate you for what you grow. and for what you produce, because we use it and we're very proud to use Michigan products. And I personally am very, very happy that we have agricultural groups here at the lodge, because it's kind of like, this is how we started, it's like our roots.